We live in a world that is obsessed with virtue. From the moment we enter the school system, we are fed a very specific diet of moral instruction. We are told that if we are kind, if we work hard, and if we play by the rules, we will be rewarded. We are taught that justice is a natural law of the universe. This is a lie. It is a beautiful lie constructed to keep society orderly. It is a leash designed to keep the sheep grazing quietly while the wolves decide where to hunt next. Look closely at the structures that govern your life, the corporation you work for, the government you vote for, the social circles you navigate. Do the most virtuous people rise to the top, or do the most effective? History does not remember the man who was nice. History remembers the man who won. 500 years ago, in a damp farmhouse just outside of Florence, a disgraced diplomat sat down to write a letter. He was broken. He had been tortured. His limbs had been stretched on the rack until his shoulders dislocated. He had lost his job, his status, and his purpose. His name was Niccolò Machiavelli, and the letter he wrote became the most dangerous book in human history, The Prince. Tonight, we do not read The Prince as a history book. We read it as a manual. We are going to dismantle the polite fiction of your life and replace it with the cold mechanics of power. We will explore 7 tactics that have governed human hierarchy for millennia. Warning, this is not advice for the faint of heart. This is the anatomy of a predator. To understand the tactic, you must first understand the trauma. Why did Machiavelli write such ruthless things? Was he evil? No. He was a realist living in a time of absolute chaos. Florence in the early 16th century was not a museum of art. It was a snake pit. The Medicis were fighting for control. The Pope was leading armies. France and Spain were tearing Italy apart like dogs fighting over a bone. Machiavelli saw with his own eyes what happened to weak leaders. He saw the monk Savonarola, a man of high morals and religious virtue, try to rule Florence with love and piety. And he saw Savonarola burn at the stake in the Piazza della Signoria. The lesson was burned into Machiavelli's mind. Unarmed prophets always fail. Moral superiority means nothing if you do not have the power to enforce it. When he wrote The Prince, he wasn't trying to be a villain. He was trying to solve a problem. How does a leader survive in a world where everyone else is trying to kill him? Fast forward to the 21st century. The swords have been replaced by lawsuits. The poison chalices have been replaced by HR complaints and hostile takeovers. But the dynamic is identical. We are still in Florence. We are still fighting for survival. The first step to Machiavellian intelligence is the abandonment of the just world hypothesis. You must accept that the world is not fair. It is merely a contest of virtù and fortuna. Before we get to the tactics, we must define the engine of Machiavelli's philosophy. He believed our lives are dictated by 2 forces, fortuna and virtù. Fortuna is luck. It is the raging river. It is the cancer diagnosis, the market crash, the chance meeting, the chaotic nature of the universe. It is feminine, unpredictable, and often violent. Most people are passive victims of fortuna. They drift. They say, "It wasn't meant to be," or "bad luck." Machiavelli despised this passivity. He proposed virtù. Now, do not mistake this for the English word virtue, moral goodness. No, in Italian, virtù comes from the Latin vir, man. It means prowess, skill, strength, excellence, and the sheer will to impose your reality onto the world. The Machiavellian man does not pray for good luck. He builds dams to control the river.
He prepares, he calculates, and when Fortuna arrives, he beats her into submission. This documentary is a training course in virtù. We are going to give you the tools to build your dam. Let us begin with the first and most essential tactic, the art of the mask.
Tactic 1. Conceal your intentions. We live in the era of radical transparency. Social media encourages you to broadcast your every thought. Corporate culture tells you to bring your whole self to work. Therapists tell you to be vulnerable. Strategically, this is suicide. Information is the currency of conflict. Every time you reveal a desire, a fear, or a plan, you are handing your opponent a weapon to use against you. Machiavelli advises, men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. Let's analyze the psychology behind this. Why do we overshare? Because we seek validation. We want to be understood. But in a hierarchy, being understood makes you predictable. And if you are predictable, you are controllable. Consider the decoy strategy used in warfare and high-level politics. During World War II, the Allies didn't just hide the D-Day invasion. They created an entire fake army, Operation Fortitude, to convince the Germans they were attacking Pas-de-Calais. They didn't just stay silent, they actively broadcasted a false intention. In your life, you must learn to do the same. If you want a promotion, do not complain about your current salary. That reveals neediness. Instead, talk passionately about the company's future while quietly interviewing with competitors. If you dislike a colleague, do not treat them with coldness. That puts them on guard. Treat them with an ambiguous warmth. Keep them comfortable. A knife is most dangerous when it is hidden in a bouquet of flowers. This is not about being a liar. It is about being a curator of your own reality. The British call it tact. The Italians call it sprezzatura, studied carelessness. Machiavelli simply calls it necessity. Never let your face show what is in your mind. The most powerful person in the room is the one whose next move cannot be guessed. Tactic 2. The Centaur Strategy. Beast and Man. We have learned to wear the mask, but a mask is a defensive tool. To win, one must eventually strike. In chapter 18, Machiavelli makes a statement that shocked the Christian world. He suggests that a great leader cannot be fully human. He writes, "There are two ways of fighting, by law and by force. The first way is natural to men, and the second to beasts. But as the first way often proves inadequate, one must needs have recourse to the second." He uses the metaphor of the centaur, half man, half beast. To survive in the jungle of the City of London or the corridors of Westminster, you must master the psychology of two specific animals, the lion and the fox. Most men choose one nature and stick to it. This is their fatal flaw. The lion is the aggressive CEO, the loud manager, the bully. He relies on raw power, intimidation, and authority. He terrifies the wolves, but he is clumsy. He walks blindly into traps set by more intelligent rivals. He does not see the fine print in the contract. He does not see the whispering campaign behind his back. The fox is the schemer, the diplomat, the flatterer. He can spot the trap from a mile away. He is slippery, but he is physically weak. When the wolves come, when a hostile takeover happens, or a direct confrontation is forced, the fox is devoured. He has no teeth. The Machiavellian master is functionally ambidextrous. You must cultivate the ability to switch natures instantly. Look at the most successful figures in British history. Winston Churchill.
He was a fox when navigating the treacherous alliances of Parliament, using wit and rhetoric to outmaneuver Chamberlain. But when the war came, he became the lion. Absolute refusal to surrender, brutal decisiveness. In your own life, you must assess the threat. Are you dealing with a trap, a complex legal issue, a passive-aggressive colleague? Be the fox. Use intellect, evasion, and charm. Do not use force against a trap. You will only hurt yourself. Are you dealing with a wolf, a direct challenger, a crisis? Be the lion. Drop the politeness. Establish boundaries with terrifying clarity. The world respects the fox, but it fears the lion. You must be both.
Tactic 3. The chains of necessity. Now we move to the most counterintuitive lesson of The Prince. We are raised to seek independence. We want to be free. But in terms of power dynamics, total independence is isolation, and isolation is death. Conversely, we often seek to be loved. We want our boss to like us. We want our partners to adore us. Machiavelli warns, friendships that are obtained by payments and not by greatness or nobility of mind may indeed be earned, but they are not secured and in time of need cannot be relied upon. Love is volatile. It is an emotion, and emotions change like the British weather. A person who helps you because they like you can stop helping you the moment you annoy them. Therefore, do not build your castle on the sand of affection. Build it on the rock of necessity. The ultimate power is not to be the king, it is to be the king-maker. You must position yourself so that you are the keystone in the arch. If you leave, the structure collapses. This is the tactic of enforced dependency. How do you achieve this? By possessing a skill, a secret, or a relationship that no one else has. In the corporate world, do not just do your job. Hoard the specific knowledge of how the system works. Be the only one who understands the legacy code. Be the only one who has the direct line to the biggest client. Make yourself difficult to replace. When people need you, they will tolerate you, they will pay you, they will protect you. Not because they love you, but because they cannot survive without you. This sounds cold. It is. But look at the alternative. If you are easily replaceable, you are a commodity, and commodities are discarded the moment they lose their shine. Machiavelli teaches us that gratitude is a burden, while dependency is a chain. People will break a promise of gratitude. They will rarely break a chain of necessity. Ask yourself today, if I disappeared tomorrow, would my organization panic? If the answer is no, you are in danger. Make them need you, and you will never have to worry about them loving you. We are halfway through the code. By now, you might be feeling a certain heaviness. This is normal. To view the world through Machiavelli's eyes is to lose a certain innocence. It is to realize that the handshake is often a test of grip strength, not a gesture of friendship. Many who read The Prince stop here. They say, I do not want to live like this. I want to be a good person. And that is a noble choice. But remember, you can choose to be a sheep. You can choose to graze peacefully. But you cannot choose whether or not the wolves exist. They are out there, and they are hungry. To ignore these tactics is not a moral virtue, it is a strategic blindness. So, if you have the stomach for it, let us continue, because the next tactic is the one that separates the amateurs from the masters. It is the art of saying nothing.
Tactic 4. The void of silence. In a world that cannot stop talking, silence is the ultimate luxury. and the ultimate weapon. Consider the dynamics of modern interaction. We are terrified of awkward silences. In the UK, if a conversation pauses for more than 4 seconds, we panic. We rush to fill the void with chatter, with jokes, with trivialities about the rain. Machiavelli and later historians of power identified this as a critical weakness. When you speak, you reveal. When you speak too much, you become common. You dilute your authority. Louis XIV, the Sun King of France, was a master of this. When his ministers brought him urgent matters, complex problems, and desperate pleas, he would listen in total silence. He would not argue, he would not explain. He would simply say, "I shall see, je verrai," and then he would walk away. This silence terrified his courtiers. It forced them to overanalyze his few words. It made them project their own fears onto him. This is the Rorschach test of power. By saying less than necessary, you become a blank canvas. People will project their own thoughts onto you. They will assume you are smarter, deeper, and more calculating than you actually are. Why does this work? It is simple physics. The more you say, the higher the probability of saying something foolish. Once the words leave your mouth, they are no longer yours. They belong to the public. They can be twisted, misquoted, and used as ammunition. In your next meeting, try this experiment. When someone finishes speaking, do not reply immediately. Wait, count to 3, look them in the eye. You will see them squirm. You will see them start to clarify, to justify, to reveal more than they intended. You are using the vacuum of silence to suck the truth out of them. Silence creates a gravitational field. The heavy objects, the secrets, the insecurities are pulled towards it. Master your tongue, and you master the room.
Tactic 5. Strike the shepherd. We often find ourselves fighting battles that never seem to end. A toxic teen culture that won't improve. A rival faction that keeps undermining us. A negotiation that goes in circles. We exhaust ourselves fighting the symptoms. We argue with the foot soldiers. We try to convince the masses. Machiavelli calls this a waste of energy. He proposes a more brutal efficiency. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. In any group, power is never evenly distributed. It is concentrated. There is always a ringleader, a source, a patient zero. It might be the manager who secretly poisons the team against the new policy. It might be the one dominant personality in your social circle who decides who gets invited and who gets shunned. If you try to fight the sheep, the followers, you will be outnumbered, you will be swarmed. Instead, identify the shepherd. Who is the one validating their anger? Who is the one setting the tone? Your strategy must be to isolate, discredit, or remove that single individual. In a debate, do not attack every weak point your opponent makes. Attack their central axiom, the one belief that holds their entire argument together. Break that, and the logic crumbles. In a conflict, do not spread your forces thin. Focus all your energy on the leader. Once the head is removed, the body loses its will to fight. The followers, confused and directionless, will either disperse or come looking for a new shepherd. Perhaps that new shepherd will be you. This requires a cold diagnostic eye. You must look past the noise. You must ignore the insults from the crowd and ask, who is holding the megaphone? Find them, target them, strike them. The rest is just gravity.
Tactic 6. The velvet glove. In the history of power, there is no story more instructive and more terrifying than that of Cesare Borgia
and Ramiro de Orco. When Borgia conquered the Romagna region, he found it lawless. Robbery and violence were everywhere. He knew he needed to establish order and that the process would be painful. So he hired a man named Ramiro de Orco. Ramiro was cruel, efficient, and ruthless. Borgia gave him absolute power. Within months, Ramiro had pacified the region through torture and execution. Order was restored. But Borgia knew that the people now hated Ramiro for his cruelty, and by extension, they might hate Borgia. So, what did the prince do? Did he defend his loyal servant? On the morning of December 26th, the people of Cesena woke up to a horrific sight. Ramiro de Orco had been executed. His body was cut in two, placed in the piazza with a block of wood and a bloody knife. Machiavelli witnessed this. He wrote, "The ferocity of this spectacle at once satisfied and stupefied the people." Borgia achieved two things. He got the order he wanted, and he purged the hatred of the people by sacrificing the very man who created that order. He kept the prize, but he washed his hands of the blood. In the modern world, we do not use executioners. We use consultants. We use restructuring committees. We use algorithms. The logic is identical. A leader must sometimes make unpopular decisions to cut costs, to fire a beloved but incompetent employee, to end a project. If you do this yourself, you taint your aura. You become the villain. The Machiavellian strategist uses a cat's paw, a third party to pull the chestnuts out of the fire. Delegate the dirty work. Let someone else deliver the bad news. Let the committee take the heat. Then, once the deed is done, you step in as the healer. You are the one who comforts the survivors. You are the one who brings stability. It is the ultimate act of hypocrisy, and it is the only way to rule for long.
Tactic 7. The Cult of Audacity. We reach the final lesson. All the planning, all the masks, all the silence means nothing if you cannot pull the trigger. The British are plagued by a disease called politeness. We wait our turn, we ask for permission, we apologize for existing. In the game of power, hesitation is a death sentence. Machiavelli famously wrote, "Fortune is a woman, and if you wish to keep her under, it is necessary to beat and ill-use her." While his 16th century misogyny is outdated, the metaphysical principle remains true. Fortune favors the bold. Chaos, the unpredictable nature of the world, respects only one thing: decisiveness. Why does audacity work? Because humans crave certainty. We are terrified of the unknown. When you act with hesitation, you signal that you are unsure. This creates a gap where others can question you. But when you act with audacity, even if you are wrong, you create an illusion of inevitability. Your confidence becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you are going to lie, tell a big lie. If you are going to ask for a raise, ask for an obscene amount. If you are going to attack with overwhelming force. Timidity creates obstacles. Boldness eliminates them. It is better to be feared for your rashness than to be ignored for your caution. Niccolò Machiavelli died in 1527, poor and exiled. Yet 500 years later, his ghost sits in every boardroom, every parliament, and every negotiation in the world. He whispered the uncomfortable truth that we are too afraid to admit. The world is not a playground of justice. It is a battlefield of interests. You have now been given the codes to conceal your intentions, to be both lion and fox, to forge chains of dependency, to weaponize silence, to strike the shepherd, to keep your hands clean, and to act with audacity. Some of you will reject these tools. You will call them immoral. You will choose to remain good. That is your right, but do not be naive. While you sleep in the comfort of your virtue, others are sharpening their knives. The game is being played whether you want to participate or not. The only question left is simple. Will you be the player, or will you be the pawn?